Hi, this is my review of The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind by William Kamkamba and Bryan. The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. Very interesting story about a boy who built a windmill out of scrap parts in Malawi. This book, a lot of the first section of the book, at least the first half, tells about life in Malawi and growing up in poverty. It's pretty interesting reading. And I work at a public library, so I was very fascinated to find the passage in this book which describes when William found the book that changed his life. He found this book at a public library about building windmills. It was either a public library or a school library, I'm not quite sure, but he had dropped out of school. And here's the passage on page 157. This passage almost reminds me of the passage in Helen Keller's autobiography where she learns to fingerspell, and when she's at the well. It's one of those life-changing moments. Let me read this passage to you. After about a month, the school term finally ended and Gilbert was free to hang out. One morning we went to the library to kill some time. We often stayed for hours, just sitting in chairs and reading. But today Mrs. Sikelo was in a rush. "You boys spend hours in here taking my time," she said. "But today I have an appointment. Just find something quickly." "Yes, madam." The reason it took so long was that none of the books were arranged properly. The titles weren't shelved alphabetically or by subject or author, which meant we had to scan every title to find something we liked. So that day, while Gilbert and I looked for a good read, I remembered an English word I'd stumbled across in one of my books. "Gilbert, what's the word grapes mean?" He said, "Never heard of it. Look it up in the dictionary." The English Chichewa dictionaries were actually kept on the bottom shelf, but I never really spent much time looking down there. Instead, I asked Mrs. Sikelo, so I squatted down to grab one of the dictionaries, and when I did, I noticed a book I'd never seen, pushed into the shelf and slightly concealed. "What is this?" I thought. Pulling it out, I saw it was an American textbook called Using Energy, and this book has since changed my life. And let me read the next paragraph because it has something very interesting to tell us. The cover featured a long row of windmills, though at the time I had no idea what a windmill was. All I saw were tall towers with three blades spinning like a giant fan. They looked like the pinwheel toys Jeffrey and I once made as kids when we were bored. So this is very fascinating. William Kamkamba had built little windmills as toys when he was a child. And that reminds me of the Wright brothers, who their father had given them a little flying machine, like a little helicopter that was sort of rubber band powered. And they flew it around the house, and it broke, and then they fixed it, and then it broke again, and they fixed it. And that planted an idea in their head that they were maybe good at fixing and building flying machines. So, while it perhaps was not intended, I see a real parallel between William Kamkamba and the Wright brothers, this inborn ingenuity. And that's perhaps the biggest story of this book, is that there are individuals in our society who have great talent to share, and we don't always do so well as a society to identify those individuals for the better of the whole society. And sometimes it takes just a sheer chance, that this young man came across a book that changed his life. But it might also change the whole life of many others in Malawi, because this young man is devoting his life now to renewable energy, both wind and solar, that he wants to bring to his village and to the entire country of Malawi, as well as elsewhere. So, highly recommended book, The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind.